Okay, good evening to all. Along with the good people of the Iron Triangle, Richmore Village, Metro Square, Coronado, and Park Plaza Neighborhood Councils, along with Vibe Bistro, I want to welcome everyone to this forum, hoping that what we learn here might have an impact on the upcoming election to determine who will serve for the next 4 years as our next council member voted in by the voters of District 3. The candidates have been advised in advance about the format and the rules to help ensure that what we hear tonight are the thoughts and beliefs of the candidates and not their advisors. We ask that the candidates turn their electronic devices onto silent and stow them away so they won't have access to them during the forum. We also ask people in the audience to put their devices on mute or silent. With only 2 candidates, the order will be determined initially by a flip of a coin, and then we'll just go back and forth. Believe it or not, I actually used to have quarters and stuff, but all I got is a penny. It's a rarity. Somebody flip the coin. Decide, call it an A or who's going to go first.
Go ahead.
It is. Mr. Evans will be first. And we'll go back and forth. Did not need a random generator for this. Thank you very much. Okay, here's what we can expect tonight. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to present themselves. In this presentation, we ask you to tell us about your history living and working in Richmond, followed by anything else you wish to highlight. Please include and highlight what distinguishes you from your opposing candidate. The bottom line should be a solid argument why any one of us should invest our vote in you to ensure a solid future for Richmond and all of us. Then we'll have the questions. The hosts have drafted 8 questions for each candidate. The response will be limited to 2 minutes. This is following the responses. Candidates will be offered an opportunity for a 1-minute rebuttal to what has been said by the other candidate. The candidates are admonished to stick to rebutting what has already been said. Using this time to just speak on anything you want will be met by my own immediate rebuttal. Please stay focused and abide by these rules. As this is a debate, candidates can rebut the other candidates' comments, compare or contrast the other candidates' positions, or pass. This time cannot be used to simply elaborate on your initial statement. I've been tasked by the host to help keep you focused. Unlike at the council meetings, I will interrupt you and redirect you. Please don't set me up to be the bad guy. Time permitting, we may ask several yes or no questions where you will be asked to hold up a yes or no placard. The closing remarks will then be limited to 60 seconds. If you haven't made it clear why you are the best candidate, this is your chance to shine. One last admonishment. You're staring at a countdown clock and even a set of lights so you know when your time is up. Please show the other candidate and those of us here in the audience the same respect we are all owed by not going past your allotted time. After all that, it's showtime, folks. Let's get ourselves started. Okay. As far as opening statements, Mr. Evans.
Thank you. Good evening, Richmond. My name is Brandon Evans. I'm a 4th generation Richmond resident and proud son of the South Side. My family got here in the 1940s and have lived and worked in District 3 since. I have the privilege of serving as the CEO of Men and Women of Purpose. We're a community-based organization working with individuals coming home from incarceration and while they're incarcerated. I've spent a decade running nonprofits here in the city of Richmond, including Richmond Pals, where I served hundreds of youth, assisting them with workforce development opportunities, as well as hosting life skills workshops and helping them figure it out. I'm raising a young family in this community. Happy to have my partner and my new son, Brandon Evans, Brandon Ermias Evans, here with us this evening. I'm not here to disparage my candidate. I don't believe that to make myself look better, I have to put someone else down. But I will be here to tell the truth. In this community, I've served in a number of appointed capacities. So I've served as an economic development commissioner here, co-founding the Taste of Richmond. I've also had the opportunity to serve our county, working in the District 5 Supervisor's Office with the late Supervisor Federal Glover, as well as working here for the City of Richmond as a city employee in the Employment and Training Department, specifically in the Youth Works program. I'm happy to say that I was a part of the team that served over 1,000 young people a couple of summers ago here in this community. If I have anything to have accomplished if I'm elected, I want to bring pride back to Richmond. I think that our city has seen what a progressive majority has done here over the past 2 decades. And if this community is ready for change, vote Brandon Evans for District 3 on June 2nd. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Robinson.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for this opportunity to speak for myself. I'm always happy to do that. I want to start by saying 52 years. For 52 years, I was here in Richmond, born and raised in Richmond, from Nevin, 5th and Nevin, to 12th and Florida. I have lived here my whole life. I raised my kids here. I grew up in a church community at Ohio and South 13th Street, where my grandfather was minister. Not only that, but for the last 20 years, not 2 years, not 10 years, for the last 20 years, I've been growing an organization in Richmond that employs 80 people year-round at Bay Area living wage salaries and feeds over 400 families every week. We started as a volunteer organization. Today we're a powerful force of positive change in Richmond. This is the kind of experience I bring. Executive experience running an organization of that size, experience working in collaboration with county, with the state, with local organizations. People know me. They knew me before I was elected. So when I became elected, when I made that change from a regular person just around the block with me and my friends to being in city council, I came with experience. I came with know-how. And that's what I've been applying while I've been in office. While I've been in office, I've been able to make enormous strides just in my first 3 years. From increasing staffing to getting parks, built, getting development projects unstuck, fighting with developers that were basically just lying to the community. This is the work that I want to continue, and I want to continue it for you.
Thank you very much. Go start off with question number 1 on public safety. District 3 continues to be disproportionately impacted adversely by crime and violence. According to Spotshotter, the district recently had a couple of homicides, and the district continues to have a high concentration of shootings. What policies do you think have failed and why? What policies do you think have succeeded and why? We'll start with Ms. Robinson.
What's failed is that for much longer than 20 years, no one was investing in the community that was most impacted by violence. No one was giving the kind of aid, the kind of assistance, the kind of focus that was needed specifically to the Black community in Richmond. No one. So we had a number of different projects, a number of different things that recently started, and it's helping. But that lack of investment in our communities, specifically in the ones that are experiencing the violence the most, the most intensely, that is, in my opinion, the core of what's wrong. Because if people would have paid attention and invested in housing, invested in jobs, invested in our youth in ways that could have worked for them, we would be in a different place. This is the exact reason why I stood up in front of council and I said we need an investment in the Black community, we need the Black Resiliency Project, because we have specific issues. We have been disproportionately negatively impacted for too long, and the only way it's going to change is if there is specific and targeted investment where it's needed most. That's what the Black Resiliency Project and Fund is. That is what I did, $1.5 million to start, and from there I think we can make a lot of progress. That said, I think there's other things that are working. I personally think the Office of Neighborhood Safety is doing a really good job. It's a federally recognized program. I think it's doing an excellent job. I think investing in Youth Works, 500 youth jobs year-round and during the summer for our youth, that is doing an excellent job for getting kids doing positive things. Our whole Kids First and that whole network and ecosystem of youth programming, that is also doing an amazing work, So there's things that are working, we need to do more, and we need to be targeted.
Thank you very much. Now, after each question, the candidates will have an opportunity to rebut. They don't have to say anything at all. Do we have anybody that wants to rebut?
Oh, he hasn't gone.
Sorry, my apologies. I heard you before.
Sit right down. Thank you. So the question is, what policies do you think have failed and why? And I would say that I think the strategic vision from our city council has failed. I myself grew up during Richmond's most violent period, the early 2000s here, where Richmond was murder capital of the United States, more murders per resident than cities, large cities like Baltimore and New York. Some will tout from the council that they were responsible for the drop in homicides. I disagree. I lived through that experience. My friends were the victims of those shootings. And in addition to losing people to gun violence, others fled the city, right, because it wasn't safe. And it shows, it's still not safe. Last year, there was a shooting in District 1 where a 21-year-old woman by the name of Ma'Khia Brown was gunned down in the backseat of her younger brother's car. He was shot severely. She was murdered, shot in the head, 2 months pregnant. When they got to Kaiser, the hospital was on lockdown. The council didn't make a statement. They did not respond. It took myself and Dr. Jamila Brown supporting that family, urging them to be vocal, to show up to council. I think Office of Neighborhood Safety has done some good. I've worked closely with them during my time at Richmond Youth Works. But I'll say that they don't do enough. Many times, the young people that are participants in ONS, they aren't getting the full wraparound services that they deserve. And for us to really move the lowest of us up, we have to have strategic investments. YouthWorks is one of those investments, but I would go further. I would make sure that every young person in the city of Richmond has a job year-round if I'm elected. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now I'm going to ask for rebuttals. Show of hands. Just Ms. Robinson.
So I think it's important to point out that YouthWorks is year-round. Huge portion of the hours that go to people, go to kids who are meeting the really young adults who need support because they are not on their way to college and they need that kind of support. So I think it's important to point that out. And the other thing I just have to say is, I agree, we need to be doing more. We need more wraparound services in ONS. We need more work towards being there for people when they go through violence. I also grew up on 5th and Nevin when drive-bys were the thing. Every single kid that I grew up with was shot. Most of them killed. So I understand that. But what I fail to hear in Mr. Brown's response is a policy. I don't hear a policy there. I hear a desire to be comforting. I hear, no policy.
No, I do have a rebuttal.
We give everybody a chance to speak.
Appreciate it. So let's just talk about the current status of YouthWorks participants here. And historically, YouthWorks provided up to 500 hours. There were years when I managed a work experience program at Richmond Powell, and we were able to actually get kids up to 500 hours per year. Today, youth are receiving 100 hours. The council is aware of this. The council is aware of issues within our employment and training department and has taken no action. So to sit here and say that YouthWorks is a be-all, end-all, it's just not accurate. And leadership is lacking. They know about the problems, but they're unwilling to address them. When we talk about policies, I said investing in ONS, expanding wraparound services, but then we also need to invest in Richmond Build, another employment and training department program that is failing. It's not the program that we had under Sal Baca. Thank you.
Thank you. Waiting for the clock to be reset. Okay, we're going back and forth. I don't want to screw this one up. Who's supposed to be next?
I'm next.
All right. Question number 2, economic development. District 3 is home to economic corridors like the Richmond Main Street and Cutting Boulevard. However, there continues to be major shutdowns of businesses, such as the closing of Walgreen on McDonald Avenue. 2 questions. What policies do you think have failed? What is your specific plan to generate additional economic development and attract businesses to District 3?
Well, I'll start with, I think, what policies have failed. And the city councils, and I would say the city leadership, has failed to invest in an economic development department. So I served almost 8 years on the city's Economic Development Commission. At that time, we had an economic development division, not a department, a division ran by one woman. When Janet Johnson retired, that job was pretty much given to interns. During my time on the Economic Development Commission was during COVID. And one of the policies that we were tasked with was working with a consultant to create a short-term and long-term recovery plan. Throughout that plan, myself, candidate Ahmad Anderson, and Orion Willis, a former Economic Development Commissioner, we advocated to increase capacity in that department. We see that investment today. We see a department where we have an Economic Development Director. We have a number of senior business assistance specialists. And we do see some progress in organizing along our downtown McDonald Avenue corridor. But our community is hurting. When you come into any city, your downtown is supposed to be thriving. That's a central meeting place. We should have business, we should have retail, we should have commerce. We don't have that here. And if I had to just propose a specific policy, it would be a commercial corridor policy. We have several commercial corridors that are just dilapidated. 23rd Street, Cutting Boulevard, the McDonald Avenue corridor, and also Hilltop Mall. So can we get some energy behind coming up with plans to address bringing business here, supporting existing businesses, and then also helping entrepreneurs? Thank you.
Ms. Robinson.
Yeah, so bringing businesses here, supporting entrepreneurs, both things that are the core of the McDonald Avenue Task Force and what we're doing with that project. I have to first roll back and start. When I first got elected, we had one person in economic development working under the director. She was split half of her time, half of her FTE, 20 hours a week on all economic development projects, and the other half of her time on all port projects. That's how I found things when I entered into the city. Today, we have a port director, we have 3 people working at the port, we have 2 people focused on small business, we have Nanette, and we're also working with the GEZ and the GEZ process to bring in people who are specializing in large commercial businesses, people who are specializing in marketing firms. So there are things moving, and these things are moving because this city council moved it. This city council and this mayor said, this is ridiculous. How could you possibly grow economic development in the city with one person split half time on the port and half time? No wonder we're not making any progress, because it's not possible to do it in 20 hours a week. So we've invested in that department, we've invested in the port, we took ARPA money and focused it on small businesses so that we had increased money to do facade improvements, increased money for capacity building so people can build, have money for their capital, to get inventory, to build their books, to build their finances, and the McDonald Avenue Task Force. 2 things, big vision. What is the vision that we have for McDonald Avenue? Short term, what can we do now to improve it? These are the things that are unfolding. These are the things we're planning now.
Thank you very much. Do we have any rebuttals?
Yeah, absolutely. So just want to touch on the McDonald Avenue Task Force that is a new initiative that's been spearheaded by Vice Mayor Robinson. And it just bewilders me that the city council representative, who represents half of the downtown Avenue corridor, has been excluded from that working group. And there was some synergy around that predates the task force about the creation of a downtown merchants association similar to the one along 23rd Street. And through those discussions, we see the formation of the McDonald Avenue Task Force. And, you know, I think in the district format, we're in districts that have district and neighborhood representation. So, you know, I'm surprised that the District 1 council member has not been invited or has been included in that planning and working group. Thank you.
Okay, you stirred something up. Ms. Robinson wants to rebut. I need to stop. The more we clap, the less time. We have to cut away a question. So, thank you.
So, you know, I would be really baffled too if that was true. But unfortunately, it's not true. If we are being honest here tonight, and Ms. Brown, who's in the audience, knows, she was invited and participated in the first meetings of the McDonald Avenue Task Force. She was in the room with Shasta Pearl, with Lena, with everybody, with the mayor. She was invited to be the other representative in those meetings. We have emails where she has the invite. We have the records of the meetings. We have the meeting minutes. She was present. She was invited. She told us about the effort that she wanted to do with the McDonald Avenue Merchants Association, which is very different than creating a vision for McDonald Avenue, short-term, long-term. And we were like, that's a great idea. She said, I'm having a meeting. You guys should come. We came to her meeting. It was a great idea. It should continue. We need an Merchants Association. They're two separate things. She was invited. She refused to come.
Thank you very much. On your printed questions, question number 3 was a duplicate. So we're going back to the original question number 3 that I screwed up on. And Mr. Garcia is going to read it off of his phone.
Yeah, thank you. A large number of smoke shops have opened the past few years along McDonald Avenue, 23rd Street, and Cutting Boulevard, and in many cases targeting our youth with illegal tobacco and marijuana products. 1, what do you believe caused the smoke shops to grow so quickly? And 2, what specific plans do you have to address this ongoing problem affecting District 3?
Who's first?
I think it's me.
I thought you so too, but I didn't want, I've been screwing up so badly today, I didn't want to take the chance. Thank you.
So the questions are, what do you believe caused the smoke shops to grow so quickly? What specific plans do you have to address the ongoing problem? So I want to go at this a little bit different. I don't really know exactly what it was that caused them to grow so quickly, and I'm going to say that pretty clearly. I believe it is the lack of code enforcement, the transfer of enforcement from police to code enforcement, and then the dropping when I got into office, we had 1.5 code enforcement officers for the whole city. Literally, Kevin was there, and then there was somebody who was part-time because she was having a baby, and she couldn't go out into the field. That's what we had, and they were supposed to enforce for all of code enforcement violations, as well as all tobacco, all marijuana, all everything. It's impossible. So I believe that some of this started in that lack of people, and lack of too many vacancies, not enough people to enforce. I believe that we need to do a couple of things. We need to keep pushing on the ordinance that we've revised so we can actually enforce the things. We need to hire more code enforcement. We need to get police involved and have a coordinated effort. I think also we need to look at how spaces are leased, because anybody can walk up into a space and lease a business storefront. They don't have to produce a business license. They don't have to produce a license for anything. They can just lease it. Once they pay the person that owns the property, they can open up business. And within it takes the city noticing that somebody has opened up business to go, oh, wait a minute, do you have a license? Do you have a this? Do you have a that? You do not have to go and report and have a license. I think we need to change that. I think we need to change that so that we can better police and better monitor who is opening up what in Richmond.
Mr. Evans.
Yeah, so I would say just the lack of oversight. We can talk about the staffing in the departments, but that's a common theme. Every department is understaffed. The council knows that. The council was also aware of the emergence of these additional smoke shops popping up illegally within the allowed boundaries next to schools, next to youth-serving community centers. When the city became aware, and I've seen this happen in the past related to marijuana businesses that the city knew were operating illegally, instead of shutting them down, they offered them a pathway into compliance. And on one hand, I can understand that, but when that becomes just the general kind of understanding is that, hey, we know you're operating illegally, but we don't have the staff to provide the enforcement, so we'll deal with it later. And I think that's what we see with the smoke shops. I think we can talk about the updated ordinance that's has already come before council. I believe will be ratified soon. I believe that there is flaws in the planning and policy development. You have legacy businesses here who have been around 40, 50 years, and this new lottery process that the city council and our planning department is putting forth really shows, does not have any seniority language, right, that would allow a business that's been here for 40, 50 years any priority, right? So of course we need the additional enforcement, but when we know someone is doing something illegal and they need to be held to the limits of the law, we need to take action.
Thank you very much. Haven't even asked the question about the rebuttal, and I've got Ms. Robinson's hand raised. Go ahead.
So, quick for rebuttal. One, this whole effort was needed to really attack smoke shops, right? Smoke shops that were not only selling flavored tobacco, things that they weren't supposed to sell, selling without a license, they're also selling all kinds of other stuff, mushrooms, whippets, and all kinds of things. That was the target, but the dragnet whipped up and caught up all kinds of people, anybody that sold tobacco. It caught up AM/PM Mini Mart, it caught up 7-Eleven, it caught up Fiesta Latina, it caught up a multitude of markets that actually are the bedrock of our economic community. There are legacy businesses, and it made it so that a major part of their income stream they would no longer be able to do. And I felt like that was a problem, and that is why we allowed people to be able to get in compliance, because these regular, long-term businesses were negatively impacted more than the smoke shops we were going after. And that was a problem.
Thank you. Mr. Evans, do you care?
Yeah, thank you. So again, I think it just shows the lack of attention to detail by our local officials and our city council. So even with the development of the new policy and ordinance, there wasn't a language that differentiated a corner grocery store from a smoke shop. And Councilmember Vice Mayor Robinson is correct. They're selling weed, they're selling vapes, they're selling, you can go in the smoke shop and get anything. Some of them operating across the street from City Hall. So yeah, I understand we want to be intentional in our approach, but again, we can't just continue to say we didn't have staffing. You knew about the issue, you could have addressed it, and the council did not.
Thank you. Mr. Evans, you will be the first responder on this. Question number 4, which has to do with the budget. The city of Richmond continues to suffer from significant reductions in services due to ongoing budget issues. City services such as street landscaping, street paving, and park maintenance have been reduced significantly. Without exacerbating gentrification in District 3, what specific plan or plans do you have towards establishing a healthier long-term budget?
Well, I'll poke a little fun at some of the other candidates in the race who say, we don't have a budget issues here in the city of Richmond. We have surpluses, several of them. But let's talk about the reality. The city departments have been chronically understaffed. And the city manager in recent years has balanced her budget on unfilled vacancies within the org chart. In addition to that, when individuals, senior staff members, retire or leave the department, the policy was not to replace that full-time FTE with a staff person with the same qualifications and experience. Instead, those duties were spread out across the existing staff. And it's just not sound policy. We know that there are issues within most of our departments, specifically the departments that focus on our quality of life issues. So our abatement department, our streets team, our parks staffs and crew. I think an issue that came up and was that we have 52 parks in the city of Richmond. We have 2 special lighting and landscape districts in Marina Bay and Hilltop. I think we might have had a staff of 10 in our parks department. 7 of the 10 were allocated to the 2 special districts, leaving a staff of 3 to maintain the other 52 parks in our community. The staff, again, City Council was aware of this disparity in that department. Again, you know, it's campaign season and all the problems are being addressed. Staffing is no longer an issue, but I speak with I know staff people from the city of Richmond. I was a staff person. I'm hearing directly from the staff that there are ongoing issues within most of our departments. Thank you.
Okay, are we ready for rebuttals?
I didn't get a chance.
That's why I asked.
Yeah.
With only 2 of you back and forth, it's hard to tell. Questions versus rebuttal.
Yeah.
Okay, see if you're awake.
I'm awake. All right, so I'm gonna start by saying that Mr. Brown is absolutely, sorry, Mr. Evans
Show him your name placard.
is absolutely correct. When I came into office, we had 3 people, 1 team taking care of 54 parks, and that was ridiculous. You know, it was absolutely ridiculous. So you know what we did? In my first year, I brought to council that we needed to add additional staff to the Parks and Landscaping team. We added 2 teams, not this year, not this election cycle, but started 2 years ago. So it's not about this election cycle. These are things that we're taking care of from the beginning. If you go back to the record, you will see when that came to council, and you will see. We added a tree team. We added 2 Parks and Landscaping teams. We added engineers. We added a bunch of things. In fact, we've added 17% to the 17% of new positions in staffing, because that's how we've been addressing the things that we've been finding. Now, I want to get back to the budget and talk about how we're going to have a healthier budget. We need to increase our revenue. We need to increase our revenue by bringing large manufacturing and other businesses, building out our port, and developing and supporting small businesses along our economic corridors. The McDonald Avenue project is part of that, but also the port renovations are a part of that. We also need to diversify our revenue. We can't be dependent upon one industry. That's the story of Detroit. That's the story of Martinez. That's the story of Benicia. We don't want that story to be the story of Richmond. We need to work hard to change how we think and how we talk about our city, because whenever we trash our city, whenever we talk about how this is bad and that's bad, people hear that and they say, well, why would I want to come there? Why would I want to do business there?
Thank you very much. Opportunities for rebuttals?
Yeah, for rebuttal.
Okay.
So, I think talking about the truth and some of the issues with Richmond's reputation is just that. We still have a bad regional reputation. It isn't one that is inviting. If you ask neighboring cities about just the dysfunction in Richmond, most of them point to the council. When we talk about attracting new businesses here and investment, why would someone come to Richmond with all the volatility and chaos at council when they could go to San Pablo, El Cerrito, Pinole, Hercules, and make a return on that investment? I think when we talk about the budget, and Vice Mayor Robertson likes to use the reference of Detroit and the auto industry, I think it's relevant, but not really. This year, our annual budget is topping $700 million. $300 million of that is coming from the Chevron refinery between the settlement and taxes. So we need to be serious when we talk about what is in front of us here and losing our potential largest taxpayer and employer here when we talk about shutting Chevron down or, okay, thank you.
Just a reminder, second or two after the red light goes on. Ms. Robinson.
So just a quick rebuttal on that one. When Benicia lost their refinery recently, they did not have a choice. It was driven by international market. They're facing massive budget deficits, and they had no choice in the matter. And they had no plan. And now they're scrambling to try to figure out how they're going to sustain their city. I've talked to the mayor of Benicia and the GEC. I've talked to them. I know what they're going through. And when I bring up Detroit, which the same thing happened there when the auto industry crashed, because they had no plan. They depended upon that single industry. And when it went down, they went down. And so when I bring those things up, I'm bringing them up because I say we should be different. We should have a plan. We should take this money that we've gotten and we should invest it to diversify our income so we do not go down if they go down. If they don't go down, fine. But if they do, we need a plan.
Thank you. We'll go to question number 5. Who's supposed to be number 1? Mr. Rep? I thought so. Housing. District 3 is home to 2 major nonprofits that serve Richmond's homeless communities, the Bay Area Rescue Mission and GRIP. However, major encampments persist along the Richmond Greenway. There are also several low-income housing projects currently stalled, including the Miraflores project in Park Plaza, the 12th and McDonald project in the Iron Triangle, and the Richmond BART housing project in Building Woods. 2 questions. What is your specific plan to address Richmond's housing problem, which is disproportionately impacting areas like the Iron Triangle, Coronado, Park Plaza, Parkchester Village, and North Richmond? And then, how will you get more housing built in our community?
Thank you for the question. So I think a theme that is often not spoken about is when we talk about housing development is that I'll probably say 90% of new housing construction is really dictated by the market, right? And cities got out of the housing business, cities and counties got out of the housing business after the downturn of our redevelopment agencies in the early 2010s. So when a developer is coming into a community, usually, especially to build affordable housing, you usually need 7 sources of funding, right? So that's state tax credits, that's private equity and investment. Sometimes those are incentives from the city of Richmond. And I think what is unique about Richmond is that Richmond has a number of city-owned properties, former redevelopment parcels, 12th and McDonald being one, Richmore Village being another. There have been projects, or iterations of projects, I'll say, on both of those parcels, along with Metro Walk Phase 2, that's currently stalled due to a funding gap. In most cities, cities are able to offer incentives to developers to come here and build. Sometimes those incentives are land leases when the city owns those properties. Other times, those are the financial investments made by the city, right? The city of Richmond really has neither. And again, with the regional reputation that Richmond has, why would a developer come here and build housing? Just quickly on 12th and McDonald, that project was tied up for $100,000 for a decade. Richmore Village has gone through 3 iterations of development teams before finally landing with the development team, but the development is now not 4 blocks, instead it's 1 block. So we have some challenges.
Thank you very much. Ms. Robinson.
So, one, I want to really say that I feel really grateful for the work of their rescue mission and GRIP and SOS, who are our unhoused services providers in the city of Richmond, really going up against a regional, statewide problem in a way that's valiant and really honorable, you know. Numbers. unhoused numbers. The estimate is that we have about 1,500 unhoused people in the streets of Richmond at any point in time. We only have about 400 beds. There's your problem right there. That's why we have encampments. We actually do not have enough places for people to go. We don't. Ask Michelle Milam, ask the Rescue Mission, ask GRIP. We know this. We do not have enough beds. That's a problem. We need to work on it. Not only do we need to work on that, but we also need to work on having wraparound services that are available all the time, and we need a place for people to go during the day so that when they're kicked out of the shelter at night, they could be in a place where they're not sitting out in front of somebody's business getting the police called on them, but actually in a place where they can get help, getting their mail, getting other services, getting showers, getting jobs, getting support for the addiction, all those things. So we need day centers. We need more shelter beds. In terms of these housing developments, again, when I came in, we were having the city not knowing what was going on, playing around with developers who were just taking the city for a ride, taking residents for a ride for decades. I don't understand it. But when I got in there, I was like, why are we waiting? Why are we waiting? You know, I called up Ernst Valerie, and I was like, Ernst, what's going on? And he told me some really interesting things about the Budd family. You know? And so I was like, well, Ernst, can we work with you? Can we move this thing forward? And he's like, I'm out, you know? So I was like, well, let's get somebody else in here. Let's move this project forward. This is how I work. I get in, figure it out, and I move forward. I find a way forward.
Thank you very much. Do we have any rebuttals?
Yeah, I have a rebuttal.
Okay.
Not to, so much as to what Vice Mayor Robinson mentioned, but I think when we look at the capacity of Richmond's GRIP Center and Richmond Rescue Mission, and when we look at the county, we actually have more beds than probably most of our other neighboring cities, probably outside of Concord. So we absolutely can invest in what has been working historically here. I see Mr. Sherwin sitting in the back of the audience there. There is a project that they're working on at the Bay Area Rescue Mission. And I believe there's an opportunity to use property owned by the city of Richmond in our downtown corridor. And I think those are the type of opportunities we really need to take advantage of. In addition to GRIP, we need to build capacity. Of course, day centers, that's a great idea. We also have Brookside Shelter, right? So between Richmond and North Richmond, we have probably 3 places where our unhoused individuals can go and receive services. Thank you.
And of course, Ms. Robinson.
We have 3, and it's not enough. It's still not enough. The beds that I'm counting include Brookside, include GRIP, include what we currently have at the Rescue Mission. I am in support of using city property to expand the beds that we have. I'm also in support of one of the initiatives that we did while in council, that every new development, every new low-income development would have set aside, about 10% set aside for unhoused individuals, so they would have a pathway off the street. They would make it a part of the development plan. That's one of the things that we've been doing. So I am for making sure we're housing people. I am for making sure that we're moving housing projects forward. And another thing is that we actually need to think more creatively, because right now the biggest projects that we have on deck that are sitting ready to go need money. That's all they need. We finally have developers in place that are the developers that we need, but they don't have enough money. I think the city should be thinking creatively, working with some of our partners out there and bringing money to the table so we can get these things built.
Thank you very much. I know we promised you the opportunity to answer 8 questions, but the clock is working against us. So we're going to go straight into our yes/no questions. You've got it in front of you, Y and N. I'm sure I shouldn't have to tell you what those stand for. There's no. All we want you to do is hold up your sign on there. No comment. You got 6 questions here. Would you support more city resources to the Richmond Main Street?
The Main Street Initiative.
Richmond Main Street, so anything on Main Street, yeah.
So where's the Main Street? So McDonald.
Yeah.
More resources for McDonald Avenue.
There's an organization.
Because there's an organization, a nonprofit called Richmond Main Street, and that is something different than money for the corridor.
Yeah.
So money
Is it for the organization or for the corridor?
For all of the above, for everything.
Okay. Question number 2. Do you support the Richmond Police Department being fully staffed at levels recommended by the Contra Costa Civil Grand Jury? Question number 3. Would you support a new ordinance to better control sideshows? Number 4, do you support the use of license plate readers for law enforcement? Would you support a strict city ordinance to weed out nepotism and other significant conflicts of interest within the city of Richmond? Oh, my goodness. Look how easy all that was. Okay, we're going to go give you 1 minute now for a concluding statement. We started with Mr. Evans. We will now go to Ms. Robinson.
So what I bring to the city of Richmond in the form of a city council person is somebody who has experience. Somebody who's dealt with budgets, somebody who's dealt with audits, somebody who's dealt with staff, somebody who's dealt with large organizations, somebody who's worked on the statewide level, somebody who's worked on the federal level, somebody who's gotten things done, somebody who's built parks, Unity Park, built a farm, have multi-million-dollar projects that I've moved forward and have been able to employ people and build, help people build lives. That's what I bring, executive experience. When I come at the problems and the issues that face the city, I come with that wealth of knowledge. I get in there, I work with people around me, I'm a team player, and I get things done. This is what I'm offering up. I'm not a political operative. I'm just a community member who's been here doing this work, serving this community for over 20 years, and I'm offering up all of that I am to the city.
Mr. Evans.
Thank you once again. My name is Brandon Evans, proud son of South Richmond. Really, I'm here as a community member, right? I'm not ready to be an elected official or a politician. I'm just a public servant. I have the opportunity to wake up every day and take care of my community. I've done this for over a decade. What I've learned is that at the direct service level, it's very hard to see system change. And what we need here in the city of Richmond is a reimagining of our institutions. It's fresh ideas, individuals who are willing to collaborate across the aisle, individuals who are willing to stand with their own mind, right, and not be a part of an ideological group. I'm proud to be endorsed by the majority of our local school board, our city councilwoman from District 1, Councilwoman Jamila Brown, Logan Martinez from Martinez Unified School District. Proud to say I'm only endorsed by the West Contra Costa Democratic Club, and as well as IBEW electricians. Thank you.
As we conclude tonight, I want to thank first off Vibe Bistro for again loaning us this wonderful facility. I want to thank the hosts of this forum, the Iron Triangle, Richmore Village, Metro Square, Coronado, Park Plaza Neighborhood Councils. These things don't just happen. Wait. And to thank all the candidates themselves, both of you. It takes a lot. I've said, when I ran for school board about 10 years ago, I attended 28 candidate forums. Takes a lot of time, takes a lot of effort, especially with the same questions over and over again. So we understand it takes away from you. It takes away from your campaigns, your efforts to get elected, from your own families, and even your own personal time. So thank you very much for taking the time to come and join us here tonight. Reminder to the public, the ballots will be mailed out early next week. The ballots will be in your hands by the end of next week. Even though the election is not until June 2nd, you can vote right away, and a lot of people do. You can post them in the mail. There's no postage stamp is necessary. So I want to thank everybody for attending tonight, and best of luck to everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.